At 2:20 in the morning, champagne popped. But here's the part nobody is saying out loud. This deal could still fall apart, and one hidden rule might completely change Caitlin Clark's future. After 17 months of tension, threats, and near disaster, the WNBA and its players finally shook hands.
The agreement will likely tie player salaries to league revenue growth, and we should see salaries for some star players above $1 million per year for the first time in league history, and average salaries should be above $500,000 per year.
But this wasn't just another agreement. This was a fight that almost broke the league, and what they agreed on, it changes everything.
Yeah, Mina, both sides verbally agreed to those terms for a new collective bargaining agreement around 2:20 a.m. this morning after over 100 hours over this past week of bargaining.
Instead of walking away, they locked themselves in a room 8 straight days, over 100 hours, no leaks, no exits, just pressure.
So as I mentioned earlier, this has been a back and forth negotiation that has dated back, from what I understand, to 2024. What was the biggest factor in how you guys got this deal done and everything agreed upon?
I mean, to be honest, first of all, thank you for having me. You know, it's such an honor to be here. I know you guys are used to having my sister on here, so I'm grateful to be able to.
She's the real boss behind the scenes.
She really is. She really is,
Yes.
but
Names like Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier were in the room fighting for every dollar. And on the other side, the league refused to fold. But here's where it gets crazy. Both sides were losing, and both sides knew it.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert announcing the WNBA and the Players Association reached a verbal agreement on the terms for a new collective bargaining agreement just 51 days before the season begins.
Because someone had to give in. But the real question is, who actually won? We'll get to that. But first, you need to see what changed. This isn't a raise. This is a complete reset. Minimum salary from survival to over $300,000. Average player from overlooked to $600,000. And the biggest stars from underpaid to $1.4 million. Let that sink in. The lowest contract today is better than the best contract from before. That's not progress. That's a takeover.
Cohort to serve, you know, they're both negotiating to best serve their group.
Well, we have a deal. After 8 days of marathon in-person negotiating sessions, Front Office Sports' Andy Costabile was first to report just before 3 a.m. Wednesday morning that a verbal agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement between the WNBA and the Players Union has been reached, and this will go into effect just weeks before what will be the start of the league's upcoming 30th season.
But buried inside this deal is one rule almost nobody is talking about, and it was clearly designed for one person. This is where Caitlin Clark changes the game. The new rule allows young stars, if they dominate early, to get max contracts way sooner than ever before. That means Clark, who started around $70,000, could jump to over $1 million in just a few seasons. That's an 18 times leap, and it sends a message. The league is no longer willing to underpay its biggest stars, but here's the twist nobody expected. Even after all this, the deal isn't fully done.
The sentiment around the players was that this is going to be a transformational deal that will change what the league looks like, not just now, but in the present moving forward, or in the future moving forward. Union President Nneka Ogwumike shared with us that this is, in her view, the first time that players will come into this league and, quote, not have a sense of lack. In a statement, she was also able to share that this revenue sharing system that will be in this new collective bargaining agreement.
Right now, it's just a handshake. No official signatures yet. Players still have to vote. Owners still have to approve. And until that happens, there's still a small chance everything collapses. So who actually won? The players didn't get everything they wanted. The league didn't give everything up.
Season, how do you think that's going to impact? Well, I want to ask you, what were the major roadblocks? What were the major roadblocks all these months?
I mean, all these months, I think the major roadblocks perhaps were, you know, the way in which negotiations kind of unfolded. You know, I think that we came in understanding that engagement and participation was key. You know, we're always true to our process, and we're going to end the process in the way that we know our governance to work, you know, with ratifying the vote, getting voter turnout. And, you know, I will say that there were a lot of outside forces that were trying to, you know, kind of crack our foundation. Didn't work.
Yeah.
But together, they avoided disaster. They didn't break the league. They rebuilt it. And if this holds, you're watching the moment the WNBA changed forever. Because this wasn't just about money, it was about value. And for the first time, women's basketball didn't just ask for respect, it got paid for it.
Big news coming into live this morning about the WNBA. We've learned that the league and the Players Association have reached a verbal agreement on terms for a new collective bargaining agreement just 51 days before the league's 30th season begins, The league's commissioner telling reporters overnight, quote, "This deal is going to be transformational." So both sides declining to share details of that agreement overnight. A formal term sheet still needs to be finalized, and then the agreement needs to be ratified by the players and the league's board of governors. If that happens, it will be the 6th CBA in the league history. For the first time in WNBA history, the salary system is expected to be directly tied to revenue growth, and players are anticipated to earn the league's first $1 million salaries.
But here's something nobody is asking. What happens next could be even bigger than the deal itself, because now the pressure completely flips. For years, players were fighting to prove their value. Now they've been paid, and when the money comes in, expectations explode. Because if salaries are this high now, what happens if the league doesn't grow fast enough to support it? We're about to find out. The WNBA isn't just paying players more, it's betting on the future. New teams are coming, new cities, new markets, and behind the scenes, billions are already in motion. A massive media deal is kicking in, more exposure, more broadcasts, more pressure to perform, and this is where everything connects, because higher salaries only work if the audience keeps growing. And that leads to one uncomfortable question: what if the hype doesn't last? Right now, the league is riding a wave, and at the center of it is Caitlin Clark. Every sold-out arena, every viral highlight, every headline, it all points back to star power. But here's the reality: one player can't carry a league forever. That means players like Angel Reese and veterans like Aja Wilson now have a bigger role than ever before, because when money increases, competition changes, locker rooms change, egos grow.
It is a massive day in the WNBA, women's sports in general. I think it's been a little over 12 hours since you toasted a new collective bargaining agreement. You were there, from my understanding, for the entire marathon bargaining session. Just what are your thoughts right now and how you're feeling about the deal?
Yeah, my initial thoughts, I'm very happy that we came to an agreement. Terms are still being written, so it's definitely not finalized yet. So don't want to get too specific into details, but knowing that this new CBA is going to be historic. It's going to create generational success between players of all levels, and really excited for everyone to kind of reap those benefits. It's something that we worked really hard to do, and being able to be there since the start of the negotiations on Tuesday and see it through with NECA.
And suddenly, it's not just about winning games, it's about proving you're worth the contract, and not everyone will live up to it. Some players will thrive, some will break out into superstars, and some will disappear under the pressure. Fans won't look at the league the same way anymore. Before, people supported the mission. Now, they expect performance, they expect highlights, they expect rivalries, they expect moments. And that's where things get interesting, because this deal didn't just change salaries, it created storylines. Young stars chasing max contracts, veterans fighting to stay relevant, new teams trying to build instantly. And the biggest question of all, who becomes the face of this new era? Will it stay with Caitlin Clark, or will someone else take that spotlight? Because in a league that just changed overnight, nothing is guaranteed anymore. This deal didn't finish the story, it started a new one. A faster league, a richer league, a more competitive league. And now, every game matters more, every mistake costs more, every moment is bigger, because the real question isn't what just happened, it's who's ready for what comes next.